Hello, hello, THL. Happy Wednesday. It is Hearthcenter. We are back once again. This is the Week 10 edition, and I am Donde. Glad to be here tonight alongside my two co-hosts. LotusKnight is back after a week break. How are you doing tonight, Lotus?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Donde?
I can't complain at all. Haven't been able to shower or shave it up today because my bathroom is being redone, so I am looking a little bit ragged right now, but we're gonna hit that after the show. So only at my peak today. So I assure you, it was I showered yesterday, so this is totally clean and normal. But Mako is here as well. Hopefully he's not as grody as I.
Don't think I could ever reach that level.
I told my wife, I'm like, dude, I need to clean up before the show, and she's like, nah, you can't do that. Yeah, looking like a dad. This is dad life right now. So, it is what it is. But we can have a new looking bathroom out of it, so it's all good. But we are here tonight. We are excited to talk about a few things like we normally do. We're gonna talk about Pro. We'll talk about the lineups from last week, which is what we're going to start off with as we normally do. We'll talk about Week 9, which was the last week in Pro, and Week 10, which is this week in Pro. We have the Legacy PPR, which is the last one of the season, because that regular season has concluded, and Hero has a couple weeks left, but we'll have that one tonight too. And, of course, we're going to talk about the new All-Star game format, something I'm very hyped about. Lotus doesn't even know. He didn't want to know. So he's just going to have his actual live reactions to that. Mako does know because he, was in the discussion about it. And actually a couple people out there do know because I've bounced ideas off some people, so it won't be a surprise for some, but it should be exciting nonetheless. And, so why don't we start with, the lineups that were popular last week. Lotus, I'll let you take it away. I tried to lead this segment, but not quite as successful as you last week in your absence. So let us know what you saw here.
Sure. So I kind of sent you guys what I think is the title of this segment for this week, which is Demon Hunter, Druid, Rogue, and Warrior. Is that the lineup, and is that beatable? And that lineup has been insane, especially in pro. It's sporting a 66.67% win rate. When I would say it's the most expected lineup just because of how good these classes are right now. So, kind of amusing to see it doing this well. Um, 1 second. There's echo here. Okay. Fixed. Yeah, I think to me, it's kind of crazy how quick this lineup grew and how much it grew with the nerfs. I think a lot of it is because Druid has been in a very good spot, Rogue has been in a really good spot post nerfs, and they're just using that to do better and better. The other interesting note is some people are replacing the Rogue for Warlock, most likely Quest, which still has good matchups all around, other than its Druid matchup. So something to look there. Zoo is an alternative if you're going to target Druid and Rogue, so something to think about.
Yeah, I thought if you look at the lineups here, 15 this is the most frequent lineup. It's not really overwhelming, but Demon Hunter, Druid, Rogue, Warrior is kind of a return to where it was 2 weeks ago. A lot of people unsure exactly how well Demon Hunter would perform. I think it was very evident that it performed well. And as Mako, as you and I talked about last week on the show, we very much expected a return to form in the lineups with Demon Hunter leading the way. So this is not in any way shocking at all. I guess what is surprising is just how strong most of these lineups were. 66% win rate for the top one. You got another at 80, another at 50, another at 66. A couple of them didn't do so hot. And those were, interestingly, the 2 lineups with Hunter in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's that's a key to focus on, or maybe it was just a bad week for Hunter. But yeah, Druid did pretty well overall when Druid was included. Mage in that one lineup, only 3 matches there to really draw from, but still successful. So yeah, I would imagine we'll probably see a pretty similar spread next week and for the remainder of the season, as I don't think there's going to be any balance changes from here on out, I imagine. Donde is at Diamond.
I hope they do it. I still want more balance changes. I just want Druid to take a hit for Fungal Fortunes.
Oh yeah,
And Corsair Cat.
Druid doesn't feel good to lose to, and it doesn't particularly feel like you did a whole lot when you win a lot of the time. You just kind of got your stuff in the right order, and then you went off, and that's really how it is for Druid. But what are we supposed to leak about Diamond's team? What is?
Well, we can leak fake facts if you
want. Say because you were talking about the zoo and you were giving away the secrets. Okay, I get it now. All right. I was a little bit behind on the chat. I apologize. But yeah, if you look down below at the bans, last week was another overwhelming Warrior ban week with a peppering of Demon Hunter, and a couple people just really didn't want to play against Druid and Hunter, and one person who hates Mage. Oh, 2 priests as well. Sure, yeah, why not? So that's not really anything new.
No, I think this meta has some interesting properties, but it isn't as diverse in the sense that it has 4 classes that I would say are just in the bottom. 3 for sure. Shaman and Paladin are kind of holding the ground there, and Priest seems to be following. Although Priest win rate is something to look at.
Yeah, Priest is definitely matchup specific, but it can win and can be useful in lineups, a little bit more so in Last Hero Standing. But I don't think it doesn't have any place whatsoever in Conquest. Mako, any thoughts on that?
I think there's only one class you never bring in that Shaman. I think you can find a way to bring everything else.
Yeah,
even Paladin, really.
For sure. I mean, at least it has two archetypes that are playable to various degrees. Neither Murloc or Pure are exactly dominant, but at least if you bring it and somebody sees it in your lineup, they can't immediately say that's the deck you're bringing, because those are 2 very different archetypes. So there is at least that little bit of deception.
Yeah.
Right. And especially if we're talking about Paladin, it gets way better if you're not talking about Pro. Because in Pro, if you're bringing Paladin, you're trying to basically target something with either Murloc or Libram. And I think in other series, you can think a lot more about it and just do a game of which Paladin you're playing. So I don't think Paladin is as dead as Shaman. I believe the one Shaman bring was Tubes, who was telling me he really wanted to bring Diamond, or to bring Shaman just to spite Mako. So
Well, we see how well that turned out. If that was indeed him.
Yeah, I
It
was
went
gonna
0-1.
say. I see that 0%.
So you get lessons learned right there.
I
Lessons learned.
I think
Yeah.
the rogue here is pretty interesting too. It has the highest win rate out of all of the classes this week, excluding the priest that was only brought 5 times.
Yeah.
And it was brought almost as consistently as Druid and Demon Hunter was. So I think that's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
interesting.
I think something to look here is just the Warrior win rate is very misleading because the Warrior has a 46.15% win rate, but Warrior almost never goes through. 44 of the bans were Warrior. So if Warrior seems weak because of those numbers, that's not true at all. It's probably still the strongest class. Just either you ban it or you target it. And
Right.
I
Yeah.
think
If you're
Rogue was
leaving it up, you have a
the
plan.
yeah, no one has been targeting Rogue effectively, so Rogues can just do their thing.
Well, I think Rogue is flexible enough that it can tech decently. I mean, there's a lot of cards in the, like if you look at the stealth version, that are pretty set in there, but there are a few slots where you can kind of get a little creative with it and tech against what you
Yeah.
think you might be playing. So I think that might be why Rogue is, it's flexible enough even with its archetypes that are, like if you do the secret version or the stealth version, the game plan is roughly the same. Highlander gets a little bit different if you're crazy enough to bring that, but I think that's kind of why Rogue might be a little bit harder to nail down, just because it does crazy Edwin things, it does crazy questing adventure things, and sometimes those are just not stoppable turns if you can pull it off early enough in a game, and it can win literally any matchup. All right. Well, any final thoughts on the lineups from last week before we move into the games from last week?
No. I mean, it's exactly like we predicted it. We said if it was going to be full of Demon Hunter Warrior this upcoming week, and here we are. So
Yeah, not too surprising. So, all right. Speaking of not too surprising, sorry, due process. Washu Misha's they're just gonna roll. It just seems like they are never going to be stopped at this point. They won 17-7 last week in our first match here. The big note, though, is the one person who did not win was Heat Shock. So shout out to Boolean for doing what we all thought previously impossible, and that's beating Heat Shock in a pro match. So other than Boolean, though, Agronir, ESO Glocta, Valdis, and Ufric all wins for WashU. So 17-7, still a convincing win. Still WashU's season to lose effectively. Not much else to say here. They did exactly what we predicted, Mako. Anything else you'd like to point out from this match?
no, it went down, pretty expectedly. I feel bad for whoever Washu has to play in the final week of the season, though.
Yeah, I know. Don't even want to think about that one. All right, Lotus. Any thoughts on this one?
I mean, I didn't expect anything different. As much as I like the people at Due Process, Washu has been steamrolling everyone, so guess it happened again.
Yeah, saying "Oh man, you lost to WashU" isn't so much an indictment of the team that they lost to that loses to them. It's just us saying this is the reality of pro right now is they are dominant. But yeah, not much else to say other than good job WashU. We hope that you can keep it going for entertainment's sake, unless you're playing Aeon, because I don't want that. But let's go ahead and talk about our second matchup. Lotus, I'll let you handle this one. Bad to the Bone versus the Unknown.
Sure. So, Bad to the Bone missing their coolest player who got a sub this week, faced
Oh
the
yeah.
Unknown. And Bad to the Bone ended up going 11-14 with Ego winning and Farron winning, while obviously and A2 and Special Sub Turtle lost. I think this was supposed to be a super tight match. The Unknown is coming back. They had a very rough start of the season, but they seem to be back and they're doing really well. Their players have been winning, been accumulating the points. It's really nice to see them in second because they are a team that feels like they should be doing way better than they were in the beginning.
Yeah, they are definitely back into form that we expected them. Like you said, 14-11 over a very, very good team is a great win. Mako, what do you think about this one?
I can't remember what we predicted last week.
I think you said a tie, if I
Did
remember
I?
correctly. I think
No,
you
you're
did.
right. I did because they were so even. Yep, that's right. I said that they were going to tie.
And I think honestly, I think I said like 13-11, so I was pretty close. But I don't remember if I said unknown or bad to the bone. To be honest with you, I think I said unknown though. So I'm gonna give myself almost full credit regardless, because if anyone else wants to dig it up in the meantime and tell me I'm wrong, please feel free.
I think it's interesting though. It really is. Because it kind of pushes the unknown to a bit of a comfortable position going into the. I guess we're on week 10 now, right?
Yeah, going into
Currently,
week 10. This is through
yeah.
week 9. Yeah.
Good pro captain here. But it does give them a bit of that extra cushion against an opponent that was, neck and neck with them. So it's really interesting. Because the only the race we care about right now is like what, the 2 through 6, 2 through 7 area.
Yeah, that's the big movers at this point. The ones that have the chance to jump into the playoff hunt. Washu, although mathematically, the unthinkable could happen and they could drop out of first, are pretty set up there. But the unknown now tied with Tap last, as you can see in the standings there, for second and I guess technically third, respectively, as Tap last jumps over Bad to the Bone in this loss. So Bad to the Bone's still a playoff team. Aeon 5 points behind them, with Everyday We Trifling another 2 behind that. So I would say Save the Blazes Home is not dead, but they're definitely a dark horse at this point. All right. Let's move on to match number 3. Mako, it's Tap last versus Everyday We Trifling, and I'll let you take us through.
What happened here in the 2 seed?
I believe that was a byproduct of the DDoS.
Okay. That threw me for a loop there, seeing that empty spot. Yeah, interesting. The person who brought the mage and priest combo got the sweep. This is what we expected for like the overall matchup, though, so it's nothing really out of the blue. Yeah, I mean it was by the book, according to us at least.
I think honestly, I might have said Everyday We Trifling
Did you?
was 3-2. If I recall correctly, I think what I had said was CMAC would win, which he did. Little Hearthy would win, which he did, and I might. I think I had your mum, Ked, and I think I might have had Jimmy over Typhoon. So I think that was where I really, really messed up, because that was not what happened.
Okay, yeah. I think I called it as a 4-1.
You may have, in which case you're closer than I was, but yeah, this is a good win for Tap Last, and I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's that every time we got enough points to still be very much alive, though. 10 points is not a bad week, so they are still very much in the discussion here as we go into the last 2 weeks of the season. Yes, Priest 100% win rate, indeed. Lotus, what do you think about Tap Last versus Everyday We Trifling?
I think this is an interesting match. The teams were fairly evenly matched. I think EDT is still a really strong team, but Tap Blast has been having a killer season. It doesn't super surprise me. I thought it would be a bit tighter, and I thought Everyday with Trifling would be like 13 points or something, but strong match, and I think both of these teams are still in the race for top 4.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And I think if that sweep, if Jimmy even picks up a point or two there, this is a much closer match. But on outside of that match, everything was basically as close as any THL match can possibly get. So that's solid win for Tap Last over a team that's much of a contender as they are, and I think that's going to put them in solid position here to just try to hang on for the last 2 weeks. But a team that did not put themselves in solid position this past week is our fourth match. That's Aeon versus the Beer Boys. First of all, not a lot of points scored in this one, period. Only a 13-9 final, and that's because 3 of the matches were sweeps. One guy down at the bottom there, he didn't do anything worth talking about, so that's an 0-3. Coles as well.
No comment.
No comment. Myanodon sweeping Coles. Fuel does get the W, big sweep over Super Murloc, and our hat continues to roll. So basically it was, Aeon beat the subs and couldn't beat the official Beard Boys, who did enough work there, Booze with 3-1 over Markshire. So unfortunate for Aeon to, even in a loss, not get a whole lot of points. Single digits is definitely not great in a very important match, knowing these next 2 weeks are extremely strong opponents. So not happy with the way this one turned out, as Aeon, Mako, I would assume you would agree with that.
Yeah. Fuel started and took us strong, and then we had 2 sweeps in the opposite direction. So it's not the funnest thing to see happen, considering we have 2 weeks left, and we're currently in 5th place, being 5 points outside of 4th, and one of those weeks involves Amisha. So it's definitely not what we want, but we're here, and we'll make the best of it.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting these last few weeks. Like you said, it's going to be tough. Got to win. No more. Close match, but at least you picked up a lot of points. Like, they got to be wins from here on out for Aeon. They've got to be wins. So, Lotus, what did you think about this matchup here?
3 sweeps are just so weird. Don't expect to see this a lot, but I'm glad to see Zay back in action because he's not a 3-6 player in pro. This makes
I was super
sense.
glad to see him back in action. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think this should be the week. But that being said, his opponent kind of gives people matches. So, nah, I'm just joking. I do think you're a great player, Donde. But that being
Let's
said,
just say Illidan wasn't exactly drawing the best cards that game. Or series.
I think Aeon is still a really strong team, and I do think they're fully still in the race. I think, honestly, every day we try playing Aeon, Bat to the Bone, and Tap Last, and the Unknown are fighting for 3 places, which is crazy. It's crazy to think that those teams are fighting for 3 places because they all could make it. They're all amazing. So I'm curious to see what will happen here.
Yeah, this seems to happen every season. You have a lot of teams that are definitely playoff contenders, but there's only 4 slots, so not every team that's worthy of making the playoffs is going to make the playoffs, and it could be Aeon this season that is on the outside looking in. So we'll have to see how these last 2 weeks play out. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but why don't we talk about the 5th match of last week, Stay the Blazes Home versus Serenity, and Lotus, I'll let you go ahead and talk us through what happened there.
Sure. Stay the Blazes Home versus Serenity. Well, at this point, every week you're playing Serenity as a team, you need to do really well. It's not an option anymore to mess it up or anything like that. And that's what Stay the Blazes Home did. The Saku captain team went 16-10, which is pretty good, even assuming that you had 2 losses. It's 16 is as high as it can get. Wangor beat GCT Turf. Phoenix beat Mycroft. Swelly beat Twig to gain some points for Serenity. Dark Vader beat Corrodin for his first win. And Dexter lost to Raran. I believe that was a DQ?
DQ, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think this is Stay the Blazes Home only chance of making it, and they do have an advantage that they're still close to the others. But at this point, it's going to be really hard for them. They only have 2 weeks to catch a 10-point gap, which is possible. But also, all the teams are just going to be playing hard.
Yeah, 20 point weeks is what Stay the Blazes home needs, but getting a win against Serenity is important here. So congrats to them, even in the losses there. Two points picked up by Tweeg and Corridon, so not bad. Also, shout out to Rarin. He didn't play last week, but he did hit #1 legend today, so he's playing pretty well, at least on ladder. And I know that doesn't always equate to THL, but he's clearly in the zone at 3-0 right now. So definitely not the 5 seed you expect to see. Really, if you're anybody playing against Stay the Blazes home, that's not a comfortable position to be in. Mako, what do you think of this one here?
I would love to point out how one of our 09s got their win.
They did. I think one of us
great.
called that happening, right?
I did. That was me.
Yeah, you did.
I said they need to do it. I also pointed out the consistency with defeated players and seasons, and they're proving it wrong. Good for them.
Yeah, I mean,
but they actually, but on a similar yet different note, Serenity definitely put up a better showing than I thought they would. And if it weren't for that DQ at the bottom, they could have taken that win.
Yeah, and the DQ was near the end of the week too.
Yeah, it was
Sunday, I believe, right?
12-10, right? Math, yes, 12-10 at that point.
Yeah.
So
right.
I mean, they easily could have taken that win.
They win if Dexter wins, basically. So that is an unfortunate. I mean, knowing the beast that Rarin is right now, would that have been likely? No, but it's still, you can't win if you DQ. So it goes from a 0% chance to at least greater than 0. But yeah, Rarin, congrats on your #1 legend. We'll see if you hold it for the next 30 days. It's going to be a little while before we find out, but definitely, keep up with that, man. So final match of the week was F2L versus For the Boys. Mako, why don't you talk to us about this one?
Again, what we expected to happen. It's great seeing Based, do all the work she's doing over here in Pro. I think every single week has just been, or not every single week, every single matchup we've gone through so far has just been called to a T. I think we're just that good.
I don't know about that, but I think Mata was on a bit of a hot streak, and Rabobson, a great player anyway, but Mata was kind of the one who came into the match hot and fell 3-1, but the rest of For the Boys picked him up and got the W nonetheless. So Rescue Wabbit though looks good as a 3-1 sub, another 5 seed that is tougher than you would expect, I would imagine, down there at the 5. Lotus, what do you think about F2L versus FTB?
Yeah, I still think For the Boys is one of the most underrated teams. Like, its score does not match where this team should be. They're all great players. I think they should be a lot higher. And F2L is having a very off season for the team that dominated hard last season. They're just not great. They're in the bottom 4 this time, quite clearly. So it's not a match that affects the standings too much, but Based is shining, and I think it's a nice warm-up for these teams to try to rebuild themselves next season.
Yeah, it's always tough to go back-to-back. I mean, we already saw F2L do that one time, so going back-to-back-to-back, it would be even more impressive by extension. So, you're allowed to have a down season. F2L will be back, no doubt. I'm sure of that. For the Boys, though, a little bit of a confidence booster for them, and getting the W there, regardless of the situation, is always a good feeling. So, congrats to For the Boys, and we will see if they can translate that into 2 more wins over the remaining 2 weeks of the season. But for now, why don't we talk about Legacy, specifically the player power rankings. This is the final edition of the Legacy power rankings for this season. Ooh, yes.
Before that,
yeah,
I think
before
this
that.
is the prime time to talk about something.
Sure.
So first, I just want to say If you have Twitch Prime, you can sub for free to THL, and this helps everyone planning events. And also, if you sub, you get a special description about yourself read live. And we did get a sub a few minutes ago from Boozosaurus.
He thought we forgot about him. Where the hell is my description?
I prepared it. Here is your description. The current 1 seed and captain in the Beard Boys, Boozosaurus is crazy in Legacy. He may be making an appearance really soon, but he has gone 7-2 in HSA. He's beat many THL stars like Tony Montana, No Glocko, Icicles or Icicles, Myanodon, and Starlack. Mako can probably say more about his performance in Legacy.
Is this you throwing it to me?
Yes.
Okay.
You guys are in the same team. You can say better than I can.
Yeah, you should have given me more of a heads up. I would have written something stupid about him. He's kind of lucky I didn't write in the first place. Yeah, I'm just glad to get Winosaurus for once in my life. I'm too used to Lusosaurus.
Hey, Bruce is a great player. When we played together, he was having enough season, but
It's a oof.
I will say about Booze, although I may be over 12-12 Edwin, I'm not over my first round March Madness exit. So, forever we are enemies because of that. Still love you, but we're enemies.
Little known fact, Booze is one of the players I've actually never beaten.
Booze, why are you going to bring that up, man?
Ooh.
I'll give you a 1-8 rag shot. Anyway, I think we've said more than enough about Boozosaurus for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Yes, by fire we were purged.
Last fact, he is captaining a team and hero called Booze Cruise.
Yeah. Also one of my favorite logos for any team, yes. Booze Cruise.
Yeah.
Never enough about Booze
Galacronians would like to talk to you. That's okay.
Right, they can talk, that's fine. They're not better than Booze Cruise.
Oof.
Oof. Alright.
Doubt it.
So, with that said, let's talk about the honorable mentions for Legacy. So these 5 players just missed out on the top 10 to end the season. None of them are going to be too surprising. I think most of these 5 players have appeared on the Power Rankings at some point or another over the last few weeks, even if they had not been last week. Without further ado, it's me, Mike V, Heat Shock, Ghost, Avi, and your Mumked, all in the 6 or 7 win clubs, and 4 of them were not, featured in any way last week. Ghost was an honorable mention and is still an honorable mention. So, congratulations to the 5 of you. Even if you're not in the top 10, you still had a fantastic season, and not everybody can be undefeated. Actually, nobody's undefeated. But guys, anything that anybody you feel like should have been listed, or I guess let's not talk about that because we don't want to give anything away from the top 10. But do you feel like any of these players might have been top 10 material?
Well, if you'll let me pull up the top 10 here.
Yeah, you didn't do your research, man. Come on.
I saw it earlier, but I didn't think this question was going to get thrown to me.
Your Mumked should be in.
I think that's definitely the one that I would say as well. Yeah.
All right. Well, allow me to introduce the actual top 10 to see if you still feel the same way or if chat feels the same way about that.
I do because I'm looking at it.
Yes. Yeah.
Well,
I also have many a question about number 10 here.
Okay. I think we've had this question repeatedly over the last few weeks. So, here it is. Your top 10. Mojo Pal, congratulations. 8-1, 25-9, finishing the regular season. He jumped to number 1 last week, held on to it with a win. Neji Boston came roaring up to number 2. Pasca jumps up 1 spot to number 3, and Booze jumps up 3 spots to number 4. and HMPW rounds out the top 5. So all those players either stayed the same or moved up, with the one player moving down is Chewbacca. He dropped 5 spots to number 7, behind Buse, who is number 6. G-Kick 1 spot up to number 8, and Anfall was the big dropper this week, his second loss in a row as he moves down to number 9. So let's go talk about Adamos at 10. Go ahead, start with that, and then I will counter with the numbers.
I started with it before we showed this. I think we're all ready for your counter. It's all on you now.
All right, so
You're
now
pulling them up. That's what you're doing.
So yes, Base brings up the point. How is Adam 10 and moved up? Because yes, we talked about this. He was also an honorable mention last week, and actually for 2 straight weeks. And just for some reason, the strength of schedule did not work out in his favor, and his signature win column is completely blank, unfortunately. He has 16 points for the match wins, 9 points in net game score, and that's it. So he's got 25 points total. So for example, Anfall was 1 point above him, G-Kick was 1 point above him, and then you've got like Mojo, who was at 40. Mojo just ran away with the top 10. So that's that's why he's ranked where he is. It's just a byproduct of not having played the stronger players at their peaks. And that isn't really something he controls, of course, but it is a factor in the scoring.
If I'm not mistaken, most of his wins were also 3-2s.
Yeah, so if you're looking at his spread there, he has a +9 game score in 8 wins, which means that if he suffered a 3-2 loss, then he would have effectively 10 points to work with in those 8 wins, which means, most of those are going to be 3-2s. Either all 3-2s with a 3-0 or 2 3-1s with the rest 3-2s. So yeah, just a lot of close wins rather than any sort of like big sweeps or big matches. But that's why it was the way it was. Buse demands a recount. I will recount you right now. You are 6th. Consider yourself recounted. This is what happens when Donde... Yeah, let's talk Anfall. Let's talk about other things that happens when Donde lets something get automated, such as having to redo the Allstar vote multiple times, because apparently in Hat's world, the algorithm doesn't calculate things past the letter U in the alphabet. So that was not something I expected, and I apologize.
I forgot about it twice with Manual, the same season, in Legacy and Hero for All-Stars.
Hey, listen. Automated has failed more recently. Manual has been successful more recently, and that's what's important right now. Is that Manual will always beat out Automated. No, it won't. That's not true at all. But then at least you can blame yourself if you mess up. Any last thoughts on this before we move on? I was hoping not, because I was trying to segue the talk about the failed automated process, since it's All-Star related. Nerve there. Nerve there. So we are going to reveal the All-Star game format for this season, and I am super duper excited about this. And again, I will point out...
Time out.
Why
are we doing this before Hero PPR?
Because Legacy is the first impacted series by it.
All right.
It's also written in the bottom that this is the order, so
yeah.
We should follow the order.
I get it. We just weren't consulted with the order, so I was asking right now.
In the chat.
No, you didn't. But go on.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Were you like all ready to go with your hero hot takes? Was that am I interrupting your flow right now?
No. I don't have hot takes of Hero. I've been checked out of Hero since we've been at the bottom of the standings.
Telling your captain, oh my god. Just killing my captain.
I won last week, so okay. Sure thing, bud.
Not pleased right now. Anyway, okay. So the new All-Star format is...
Says the guy who got swept in Pro last week in the playoffs race. I just wanted to throw that out there before you moved on. Because I won my week for you, Mr. Captain, and you got swept. for me. So let's just move on now before you say anything stupid to come back at that.
First of all, I already took the
I don't
the
care.
L over here. Okay.
I'm
Lotus leaves for a week and comes back, and we're just like sniping at each other.
What did I even miss?
Mostly this for like an hour and a half. Yeah.
Go ahead and give me a thumbs up whenever you're ready to move on. It's not to hear your bullshit.
All right. With that said,
right.
we were hopefully going to.
Awesome.
Oh, are we good? We good? Okay. Anyway,
We're good now.
New All-Star format. Take 3. We're going to attempt this a third time. So, okay. So the main driving factor behind this is that we had a lot of people say, we wanted All-Star Game to be competitive. We want it to be a showcase of the best players that THL has to offer for that season, and to make sure that you putting the best face out there content-wise for viewers who might not know what THL is, and if they kind of tune in and see everybody playing like meme stuff and whatnot, it's kind of a bummer. And then of course you get into the discussion of what's a meme and what's not, and everyone's got different opinions. So we wanted to try and take that out of the equation and have a competitive match. That is, what is THL? It's like, what is the meaning of life? So we wanted a competitive match, but we wanted something a little different to reward the players who did so well, and yet also still be entertaining for anybody who might tune in, and also for people who are involved in THL. So, the voting for the players will be the same as it has been. You select the players, 5 in red, 5 in gold, each at a seed, just like we have in the past. But the single conquest series is gone. That is not a thing anymore. Each player on each team will compete individually in a unique event that will contribute to their team's overall score. So, each event is worth a point, and the most points win. So it's basically like just like a THL match would be on each week, except instead of getting like up to 4 points, you're just going to get 1 point. You win your event, you get a point. So the team with more points declare the winner. Players will decide amongst themselves who will play in each event. So what events will there be? There are 5 different events, each with a unique skill set. You say this is awful for all shows? Wait, what are you talking about in chat right now?
The underscore in the name.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you were saying like All-Star is awful for all shows. I'm like, excuse me, this is going to be amazing.
No, I'm actually really liking the idea.
All right, so the 5 events. First of all, we have the Try Hard match, which is an idea brought to you by Ron
It should be clarified that the teams will choose which player participates in each event.
That was clarified about 45 seconds ago.
I hate you. Go on.
No problem. So the Try Hard match. Ron had brought up that there are going to be people who still want to play an actual Conquest match or an LHS match if this is Hero. So a best of 5 match using the same rule set as the series for which the All-Star game is taking place. In this case, Conquest. It will be a 1v1, 5, best of 5, same thing. You do your closed list ban, same as you would do on a regular THL week. The dungeon run. Each player simultaneously begins a dungeon run, and the winner will be the player who completes it first. In the event neither complete the run, whoever completes it faster. In the event that neither complete the run, whoever gets further wins, that should say, not whoever completes it faster wins. That's a little bit of a typo error. My bad, was trying to work at the same time as I typed this up. Anyway, so it's whoever completes it first, time-wise, or gets further if both players fail. An arena run. Each player simultaneously begins an arena draft. The winner will be the player who progresses further. In the event of a tie, the 2 players will play a best-of-1 match with a deck of their choice from that same class they played in arena. The 4th is a battleground. You duo queue. I found out like a week ago this is even possible because I don't play battlegrounds. But the player with the better finish will win in that battleground. And then the Tavern Brawl. Yeah, just imagine how much of a fiesta Tavern Brawl will be, because we don't know what it's going to be that week. 2 players will compete in a best of 3 in the Tavern Brawl. Just queue up the Tavern Brawl, play best of 3, etc. Nothing too fancy there. Each event is worth a point. As we said, the team with more points wins. So how do we present this to you, the viewer, in a compelling way? That's one thing that we have been discussing, and we have tried around and played around with like multi-cam setups. If you remember when we were doing March Madness coverage, we did like picture-in-picture. Isocles was following a different match, and we had that on screen. So we're going to play around with that type of stuff, but we're going to order the events in kind of a structured way, because some of these are obviously going to take longer than others. For example, if you run a whole arena run, that's going to take much, much longer than any other single event's going to take. So we would, tune in, see the arena draft, and then set those players off on on their own to play while we follow some of the other events. We'll have one person from content watching each of them as they go through and giving us reports. For Arena, what if the other person drafts their deck? What do you mean? Oh, you mean the other person has to draft a deck for them? That would be really, really mean, actually. But yeah, so that's like we start with that. We could do the same thing, get the dungeon run going like kind of midway through, save the tryhard match for the end. Tavern Brawl would be something that could be kind of going earlier on because that won't take nearly as long. So you're going to kind of see like a little bit of everything during this, and we're going to use multiple kind of like field reporters and try to get a little bit of a view of every single event that's happening and try to do this over like a 2 to 3 hour span is kind of the plan. So that being said, anybody who's not participating that would like to participate in the coverage, please let me know, because I think this is a great, fun idea. I think everyone is going to try very, very hard in each of these events, but at the same time, it should be fun because it's something a little bit different. Yes, Tavern Brawl will probably wind up being Brawl Steam. That was something I actually brought up during the discussion for this, and I was like, well, we can't really control that, but if it's Brawliseum, we'll contingency plan it at the time, but that would be fine because you could just do that as same as like an arena run.
It's Brawliseum.
Yeah, if it's Brawliseum, you do an arena run style, and we just have 2 arena runs, but it's Brawliseum.
Let it ride.
Yeah. So either way, it should be fun. We will, of course, schedule this the same way. Once we figure out the players, we'll figure out the night that works best for all the players, and we will bring it to you content-wise. But I'm excited to see a new format, and I hope everybody also really enjoys it. Even if you're not playing it, I hope it's very entertaining. Lotus, now that you've heard the whole idea, what do you think?
I really like it. I do have a few questions, though.
This is not a Q&A. You were just supposed to sit here quietly and enjoy it.
Well, I'm
You did.
bystander, so I can ask what all our viewers are thinking.
Sure.
My
and
first
viewers may ask questions as well.
Who will choose who's going to play in which modality?
Well, that's as a discussion as your team. Like if one person says like, listen, I really hate arena and I don't want to do it, and somebody else wants to do it, that's fine. So it's essentially up to the team members. If you guys really can't decide, I mean, flip a coin, play a best of 3. I don't know, figure something out. It's whatever you guys want to do, whatever the team decides. That's someone's got to draw the Tavern Brawl short straw. I mean, hey, maybe you really love Tavern Brawl. I mean, some people really do actually love it and play tons of matches in it every week. I am not one of them, but hey, and I personally
fun Tavern Brawl.
If you get a fun Tavern Brawl, you get a fun Tavern Brawl. I personally don't play BG, so you aren't going to get me fighting to try and get into a BG. I'm not going to be an All-Star, so it doesn't really matter. But I think that's play 4 tonight for the quest. And Fall, if you play on multiple servers, you're playing 4 times the server for the quest, and right now that's awful. So let me tell you.
I think the Tavern Brawl is going to end up going to the person who has less time than the other people.
Well, yeah, you don't have
it's
to
going
prep
to be
at all.
a shorter. It's going to be on top of that, it's going to be a shorter match than all the other ones too. Because Tavern Brawls are usually pretty quick, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, not if you play the Priest one like I did today. 30-minute match. Like, I'll start this game at 8:35. It surely won't run into Hearthcenter. Nope. But yeah, I think this should be fun to see how teams kind of structure themselves. If there's somebody who is really, really good at arena in their spare time. But yeah, I like that.
Final question I have is it going to be the same format for Legacy and Hero? And in that case, should we just have had this after the Hero PPR?
My man.
I don't know if I should dignify that response. It won't be the same format because the tryhard match will be last hero standing. So, eat it. All right.
You can just say yes.
Yes. All right. Ordering lol. Indeed. Based. Indeed. So we are going to move on to the next thing in our order, which is the hero PPR. Which I guess maybe should not have been the next thing and should have been the thing before this. But whatever, I was too hyped to get to it.
No comment.
No, I get it.
No comment. Honorable mentions. these are not the final standings, of course, because Hero has still 2 more weeks to go. But Isocles, Kazergar, Blue Spartan, Turd Herder, and who's that guy at the top there? There we go. That's what we like to see. All 5 players who were not featured last week in any capacity. So 5 new
6 players just pay to let you win.
You know, people, if they want to drop out of the top 10, I'm certainly not going to stop them from doing it to get me there. But had a good match against Coles on stream last week. Worked out for me. He didn't like the rogue so much. Yay. Anybody want to comment on? Oh my God! Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Woo. A little bit of a feeling a little verklempt right now. I don't know what happened there.
Puberty hitting you hard.
Yeah, it's tough, 34 turning 13, so.
Yeah.
Wow.
That voice crack, yes. it was like I just got like a frog stuck in my throat. I don't know. Yeah,
I need to clip that.
Oh, please do not.
Just put it on a loop.
Wow. So this is why so somehow Adamos being 10 in Legacy it's correlated between me being 11th in Hero. Is that really?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Well, I think Base might put the pitchforks away once we move to the actual top 10. So here's our top 10 right now as it stands. Base Tank 8-1, now 9-1, just in case anybody's looked at the Hero page. In Pasca 8-2 because it was an awesome 1-2 matchup on Saloon last night. Well, after Saloon last night, I should say. And Base Tank came out on top. So I dare say that she might be number 1 next week. But A2 Battleship sticking steady at number 3, 7-2. That is 1 rank ahead of Dabs, who moved up 1 spot to number 4. Lotus still hanging in there, 3 spots up to number 5 now in the top 5. Liquid Ox 4 spots up, number 6. Shadow Ranger jumps into the top 10 at number 7. Little Hearthy did fall 4 spots, but still number 8. R-Hat rigging the system at number 9, and Heat Shock, who was ranked and then fell out, is back in. He's number 10. He's really good. So, yeah, not too much surprising. I think that there will probably be less conflict over this one, Lotus. Anything you want to say about the top 10 here? Any shout-outs you want to give? I know you do.
I mean, I'm always going to shout out the Spies, so I'm going to shout out Baze, who's been having a tearing season. Baze
is pretty good. We all knew that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think all of these are strong players, and it's interesting how I believe every single one of these players is a 3 seed or above, which we typically see a 5 seed who started at a low PR and just climbed really fast, but this is not happening this season.
That's because Hero is super duper stacked.
Yeah.
All right, Mako, what do you think?
Yeah.
I think that this looks great.
Wow. Praise for Mako. All right, I'll take it when I can get it.
Thumbs up.
All right. Okay.
I mean, anytime you're gonna throw Base at the top, you'll get a thumb up.
Well, we didn't throw Based at the top. Based earned her way to the top. So let's not take it away.
I mean, I would normally think that, but Adamos was at 10 in Legacy, so I don't believe it very much anymore. So,
sigh.
Wait. I do have a complaint.
Oh, okay. I'm happy to hear complaints.
My knight is not capitalized in this image.
Oh, Lord.
Oh.
Super minor thing in picking.
It's capitalized correctly on the left side of the screen, so 50-50,
Yeah.
It's basically playing Druid at this point.
Yeah.
50-50 whether you get it or not.
Yeah, but if you get it, you're just going to win.
Ron was ready to ride if Base wasn't number 1. Well, like I said, after beating Pasca, who was the only other real contender for number 1 at this point, I have no doubt that Base will repeat, and it'll be her top spot to lose going into the final week of the season. Mm-hmm. So, let's shift back to Pro, which is what we're here for. and we're going to talk about Week 10 upcoming in Pro Series, and we're going to start off with a doozy of a match. WashU Mishas versus Bad to the Bone. And Bad to the Bone needs these points. WashU doesn't need these points as badly, but you know they want to keep their streak going. So Bad to the Bone, Aeon, we're going to be watching this one very intently because it's very important that you guys, Lotus, you don't take a lot of points here, and then we can kind of sneak by you. But, Lotus, I'll let you be biased first, and then I'll let Mako be correct about what's going to happen after.
It's kind of hard to bet against the Mishas. Like, the Mishas have been having a crazy season. But if anyone can stop their tear, is going to be Bad to the Bone. I still think we're a very strong team. Eggo Waffle versus Shock is an insane match. I'm happy to play Glocta. Avi versus Valdez is crazy. Farron versus Agarmir is great. And Ufrik versus A2, they've all been killing it. So it's kind of nice to see how these line up and just really strong players facing each other.
I mean, if someone just said, hey, this is the finals, like, I'd believe it based on the 10 names that are here.
I wouldn't.
Why would you
You
not?
know why? Because it's missing 5 names.
So it would be a 15-person finals?
No, dumbass. It's missing the names of Arhat, Markshire, Donde, Coles,
Wow.
and Fuel.
Man can't even go like 2 minutes without butting in with the Aeon hype. Listen, we're talking about a different match right now.
Yep.
So I assume Lotus believes that Bad to the Bone is going to win this one.
Yes. I think we're going to win. I think it's going to be a super tight match anyways, but I think we're going to end up winning.
That is fair. Mako, what do you think is going to happen here?
I think I do actually agree. I think I'll comment on that afterwards. I think that this will be a close match, but I think WashU's gonna end up taking this.
It's so hard to bet against them at this point, right? I mean, they're so good from top to bottom. Not that Bad to the Bone is not, but it's like 6-3 is your 5 seed, and that's just nuts.
It's I don't know. Like, it's really tough. Like, you can look at the players and be like, yeah, typically all these players do really well, but at the same time, it's like, okay, this is a different season, different meta, and the players on your left are just doing way better this season. So, it's, I don't know. I think it's gonna. Who took the win off WashU, by the way?
It was
week 1, I think, right? Yeah, week 1.
Tap
last.
Yeah,
okay.
WashU was like, we don't enjoy losing, so we're just not going to do it for 2 months.
Yeah, it pissed them off.
So, good job, Tapalas. Way to go. You riled up the hornet's nest, and now we're all getting stomped by WashU.
Yeah, thank you.
So, yeah, I have to say I agree. I think WashU wins this week just because at this point I will... You're welcome. We're never going to pick against them until they lose at this point, I would imagine. So, yeah, I think it'll be close. I don't think it's going to be a full blowout, but like something in like the 15-10 range for WashU. I would say, Lotus, I think you have a pretty good shot at getting a W in the 3, honestly. And maybe like Avi would sneak one. I think those are probably the 2 most vulnerable spots, just because as good as Eggo Waffle is, Heatshock is just out of his mind right now. And I predict a 3-2 win for Heatshock over Eggo, but both fantastic players. So that is a very hype match. Would love to get a few of those matches on stream. I know that I think we're looking for Sunday still at this point, and Schoolstone if you guys are running that this week, Lotus.
We're still looking for matches for Schoolstone. So anyone playing at any time this weekend, please let me know. Yeah, since I arrived kind of late, I haven't had much time to look for matches yet, but we are looking, and we'd be happy to have you.
I know Saturday might be tough this week just because it is the 4th of July, which for us American players, that is a holiday, which, you still should be exercising caution, of course, with the...
Wear a mask, 6 feet apart.
Yep. That's all very good
I
advice.
would like to go to a concert next year, so, like,
Sure. Yeah. Who doesn't? I'm still looking
Be
to get
be a
refunded for
be a
one.
nice human being.
I still need a refund for one I bought tickets for 4 months ago before this whole thing.
Oof.
5 months ago. No, 5 months ago at this point. Yeah, it was February when I bought them. Anyway. So let's move on to match number 2. Yeah, fuck America. That's an interesting thing to say, but you know, we do suck right now. So yeah, basically America is playing the Washu Mishas every week at this point. Tap last, the team that we previously mentioned is playing F2L, a team that is not a playoff contender at the moment. Is there any way, in your opinion, Mako, F2L pulls off a W here?
Yes,
Ooh.
there is.
Mark Shire just kind of rolls in for the political discussion here on Hearthcenter.
He wasn't watching beforehand. His ears just perked up, and then
yeah.
he just turned on the stream right there.
It was like a real life.
He just
ad.
knew. His senses, were tingling, and he was like, "Political stream."
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, no, I think there is. I think there's a chance. I am not. I'm not writing about you, Lotus. I don't know. I actually want to hear you write about yourself. And please, I think it would do the stream a lot of justice. I want to hear you write about yourself in the style that you write about other people that subscribe, and read it out loud in the third person.
So that sounds awful.
For you, maybe, but for everybody else, I think it would be amazing. Or we could do like remember Twitch plays Pokemon, where Twitch chat played Pokemon at the chat. We could have Twitch.
So
We could have Twitch chat write a paragraph for you together. How would that sound? Would that be good? I'm sure they have lots of things. You don't think it will work very well?
grammar, right?
But I do think F2L can take this. I think they're overdue for a win against a real tough opponent. And the players are capable. It's just not been their season. It's not been their meta. But I think that it's very doable, and I think this is a week where we'll see them put in the work in order to get it done. And speaking of work, I think Donde has to write his own little thing now because Jammy's just subscribed.
He doesn't even play this season.
He's here.
I'll write something for Jammies for the end of the show. All right, Lotus, what do you think about Tap Last versus F2L? Rules are rules. We have to have rules.
So, F2L has just some amazing players that, honestly, they should be doing better. Rebobson is just having a great season. Ox is insane. Berserk is insane. Snake is a great player, and I don't know much about Rescue Abbott. But I would like to say F2L stands a chance, but they've not been performing, and Tablast has been. CMAC has been just crazy, and so have quite a few of the others. So I gotta give this one to Tablast. I think they're going to end up taking it. I think CMAC, Twos, and either Typhoon or Last Champ are going to win. And I'm going to go with a hard call that Berserk actually wins.
Yeah, I think the path to victory for F2L does lie in that 2 to 4 seed range there. Robobson, as good a player as he is going to have a tough time playing against CMAC, who is insane this season. But Liquid Ox, very strong, at least evenly matched with Twos. Berserk, same thing with Lawful Dog. Rescue Abbott seems like he's got a little bit better handle on things going on right now than Typhoon, who is a great player as well. But I think if they can take that 2 through 4, that's where they need to do well to win this one, as I think Last Champ will probably beat Snake. Rebob didn't bring DH and brought Control Warrior, so he was just trying to out Control Warrior, the Control Warrior guy. So I can definitely get behind that. That's interesting. So, do I think that F2L will win? I do not. I think Taplast will take that 1 and the 5 seed, and they'll get a win somewhere in that 2 through 4, and it'll be enough to get the win. It'll probably be closer than the records will indicate, 7-2 versus a 2-6-1 team. You would imagine to be more of a blowout, but I think Taplast and F2L will be a close match, and I know they're going to both be bringing their best this week. Speaking of bringing their best, our third match is the Unknown versus Aeon. The Unknown brought their best last week, and Aeon did not. So Aeon needs to get back on the horse here. This could be, I mean, it is a make-or-break week. If Aeon does not win, they are not going to likely make the playoffs, whereas the Unknown is that screen wipe. You can tell James hasn't watched a THL stream in like 6 months. It's all right. Love it. The Unknown is a very strong team peaking at the absolute best time. Ron Mexico versus Fuel is a fantastic matchup. Fuel, speaking of peaking right now, he's doing very well the last few weeks. So I'm hopeful that Fuel can continue to carry Aeon while the rest of us figure our stuff out. Markshire, I think, can get a win over Catman. I feel strong enough about Coles against Solo Jazz. I'm glad Arhat has to play DeSharmo, because every time I play DeSharmo, I get smashed into oblivion. Regardless of whether it's luck, skill, or anything in between, it just does not go well for me. I know you guys play tomorrow, Ron. I see it in our Discord. I see the schedule. And then I am playing Brushy Tuna in the 5 also tomorrow. Heads up, like most of our matches are tomorrow apparently. So that's I think this is a match that Aeon has a good shot at winning. But everybody's going to have to play real well, because every player over there in the Unknown is strong. And I'm going to hype up Brushy Tuna, because if I don't, he'll just smack me 0-3 and then I'll be sad. Good play.
I I would like to vocally, publicly throw out that if Aeon loses this week against the Unknown, the board will be accepting applications for its 5th board member slot.
I thought you were going to say the board will be dissolved.
Nope. No.
It just becomes the show.
We will have lost a member mysteriously, and we will be accepting a 5th member.
I can't tell if you're about to ghost me or DeSharmo.
Oh, Donde for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you get swept, we might be looking for 2.
Just hand me the shovel right now. I'll dig it myself. Lotus, as the only unbiased member of the panel, what do you think will happen in this match?
So I think this is actually a very good match. I'm going to give it to the Unknown. I think Catman will beat Markshire. I think Brushy Tuna will beat Donde.
Oh.
I think Ron is actually going to win. And I hate betting against DeSharmo because he's insane, but I actually think Hat has this one. And Coles has this one. So I think it's going to be a 3-2 for the Unknown. I think it will be tight, but a 3-2 for the Unknown.
I hate it. I hate your answer. I respect it, but I hate it. So we'll see how this shakes out. As I mentioned, a lot of the matches are happening tomorrow, so we will, we'll know pretty quick.
3-2 Aeon. Easy peasy.
3-2 Aeon sounds good, but I don't know if that's good enough for playoffs, so I'm hoping it's better than that, but 3-2 Aeon will be a good start, especially against...
Bro, we're going to have 5-0 next week. It doesn't matter.
Oh, we'll go 5. Okay. We'll save that for next show. I expect a very forceful rant from you about how good we're going to do against the team that's completely bulletproof right now. But hey, let's talk about two teams that have been a little less than bulletproof. State of the Blaze Home playing better lately than Everyday We Triflin', but both are 5-4. And Everyday We Triflin' still has a lead over them at the point at a 7-point lead. Is it 7? I'm having trouble squinting and seeing. 7 points. Yes, it's 135, not 136. So State of the Blaze Home 100% absolutely needs to knock this out of the park to have a chance. Everyday with Triflin pretty much needs to, at least I would say, they need to win, but a 4-1 should be enough to keep them in the discussion going forward for the final weeks for playoffs. No, I do not want a Stidham jersey. I never want a Stidham jersey, ever. Thank you. So Little Harthy versus Wangor, your Mumkev versus Phoenix, Agent PW versus the undefeated Rarin, Jimmy Choose versus Corridon, and Sanguine versus Yoxter. Another very close match. I think I'm going to save my thoughts for last. Lotus, I'll let you start on this one.
So, very close match. Both of these teams need to know that either they win, and they need to win with margin, or their chances are really small next week. That being said, Stay the Blazers home has been getting some momentum versus Every Day with Triflin, who's been in a negative momentum path. So if you're one of those people who believe in momentum, you should be thinking Stay the Blazers home has a better chance. I can never go against Kittles, except when we're playing on stream this weekend. But other than that, it's really hard to bet against him. I'm going to think Every Day with Triflin takes a win, but I think this is going to be close, and I don't think that that's a good thing for any.
I completely agree with that. Mako, what do you think?
So both of these teams are like they can get in playoffs. It's just so tough. It's so tough at this point, considering the teams that are above them. The big thing they've got going for them is that a lot of the teams above them are playing each other. So, like, it takes one super strong week from one of those teams to just knock the other one way down below one of these guys. But I don't know. It's gonna be tough. I think you're gonna see a lot of prep from both of them, and because you're gonna see a lot of prep from both of them, a lot of both teams probably know that this matchup is huge, and because of that, I think it's gonna end up being super close. And because it's gonna end up being super close, both teams are gonna end up screwing themselves, and they're gonna gatekeep each other from making top four.
I
But
I couldn't agree more with that assessment, and it's unfortunate. As I thought Everyday We Triflin was a playoff team, my cat has made an appearance. I thought Everyday We Triflin.
They got a co-host.
Yeah, he's like, hey, I'm here. I'm running all over your stuff. So, I said Everyday We Triflin was a playoff team at the outset of the season, so I'm going to pick them as the winner because that will give them the best shot to still be a playoff team. However, I know in my heart that means that if they are a playoff team, it probably means Aeon is not. So I'm hoping that they win because that's my guess, but I'm hoping that Aeon also still is able to hold them off. So I'm going to say a 3-2 win for Everyday We and he's back again. Everyday We Triflin gets a 3-2 win with the wins for Stay the Blazers home being Rarin and Yoxter. Yep, he's just chilling here. This is where he lives now. Match number, is this 4? I think it's 4. It's match 4. For the boys versus Due Process. Mostly for pride here. Mostly for pride. For the boys is moving in the right direction. Due Process has really struggled these last most weeks of the season outside the first 2, essentially. Well, Lotus, what do you think happens in this one? We got 2 subs.
I think this is going to be. This match probably doesn't interfere the results as much, but I think this is going to boil down to For the Boys still being a strong team that is just finding its last shape. I think Fosho is a great player who's. I've been specking him / I caught with him. I don't remember when, but I think he's really strong, and I think this might be For the Boys' comeback at this point. Too late, but starting to get a few points out of some teams and just showing that they have a lot of potential for it.
All right, Mako, what do you think?
I think we're looking at 2 teams who are probably out of playoffs right now, and I think you're probably going to see I think you're probably going to see For the Boys take this at least a 3-2, but I kind of feel like it's going to be a 4-1. Yeah, 4-1 for the
10
boys.
shamans, please. Or would that be shaman? Is that the plural of shamans? Shaman? It's like the Baha men, but, less one-hit wonder. I think I think the actually most intriguing side plot of this whole thing is Boolean versus Based, because Based, as good as she has been across all series, Boolean just did the unthinkable and took out Heat Shock. So do we think Shaman? No, I don't want to say Shaman. Um, Boolean beating Based would be a great story for someone to take out two of the best players in THL in consecutive weeks. Do I think it happens statistically? Probably not. So I'm going to have to say Base gets the win in the 1. I'm going to go with Dr. BOMD in the 2. And I'll say Dabs in the 3. Fosho, I know, is a strong player, and that 0-1 is not really representative of how good they are. So I'm going to say that's another win for the boys. Mike V is better than 1-8. I don't know really anything about German Shep whatsoever, but I'm going to give Mike the benefit of the doubt that he's going to bounce back because he's playing well in Legacy right now. And that's going to be still a 3-2 win for the boys, but I think Due Process will at least hang in there. All right. Last match, that was actually number 5. I miscounted. Now we're on number 6. The Beard Boys versus Serenity. Beard Boys are a team that just beat Aeon, looking good, got their full starting lineup back with Hockey Boys and Myanodon this week. Or I'm sorry, Hockey Boys and Inzi this week. Myanodon played last week. And they're playing against Serenity. So, of course, got to be imagining the Beard Boys are favored, but does Dexter have the juice to get a win this season? We saw Dorf Vader do it last week. Mako, you predicted that. Do you think Dexter wins this week, and do you think Serenity gets a W?
I think if Dexter plays this week, he can take the win.
I mean, you can't win if you don't play. That's just that's science.
Well, I mean, I said he could have won last week, but he didn't play. So, just saying. I think he can win though. I mean, I don't know. Looking at games like these, it's just so tough to call because I feel like when you get down to the lower parts of the standings, a lot it feels like once you're out of playoffs, you start to lose a lot of the drive to put in that extra prep each week. So it gets really tough to call some of these matches because if you have people who aren't gonna prep for their match because they're out of playoffs like I do in Hero, then it can go one way or the other. I think Dexter wants the win. You don't want to finish the season having 0 wins. So I would love to see it. You don't ever want to see anyone go defeated in a season. So
You
I
mean
think this
winless
is
this
it.
season?
No, defeated.
Oh, go defeated. I thought you said go undefeated.
Yes. No.
Yes,
Go
going
defeated.
Yeah, no. I get you. I feel you. All right, Lotus. What do you think happens here?
I think Beard Boys is going to win hard. I think the Booze is going to lose, and I think the rest, Beard Boys is going to win, and it's going to be a 17-11 week.
Yeah, I think that's. You think Boo's going to lose? I think that's a reasonable assessment of the situation. I mean, picking against Beard Boys versus Serenity would be a pretty strong call at this point, but I have to agree. I think we're likely to see a W out of the Beard Boys. Still not enough for them to get into the playoffs, but good for them to continue to play on play out every week, be strong, get wins when you can.
Let me tell you this: Booze is not happy right now.
No, he's feeling very disrespected.
He is not happy about that, and he messaged me about saying Enzi was going to lose. He is not a happy camper.
All right, so our show is almost over. However, I was apparently it's promised that I must say something about Jammies. Am I right? That was because he subbed, and that's our rules.
We're waiting on you on Jammies and Lotus on Lotus.
All right. Well,
I also want to talk about the new Hearthcenter challenge when we have time.
We will do that right before, or actually, you know what? We'll end with Jammies. So, Lotus, you talk about yourself and the new Hearthcenter challenge first.
Well, let me talk about the new Hearthcenter challenge because I think that's more interesting for everyone.
Is it?
in terms of the Hearthcenter challenge, we have something fun for everyone. That if you want to take our challenge, the first person to do it is going to gain a prize. The prize being you get to choose next week's challenge. And we'll talk a bit about your accomplishment. So the challenge for this week is there's a combo you can pull with Dusk Fallen, Aviana, and Maiev. If you can pull it 3 times on ladder and just send me the HS replay VODs, we'll talk about you and you can send the challenge to someone else next week. And we'll keep the train going. And it is pretty hard to win with that combo. But if you can do it, that would be awesome.
Wait, 3 times?
Yeah, go right ahead and tank your MMR. Go right ahead.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
1 should be enough with that bullshit.
You can probably win once. It does get 0 mana stuff. You can actually get it to work for 0 because you play Maiev with it.
All right, so we'll see if anybody can pull that off, and if they can, send your proof to Lotus, and then you get to devise a challenge. Can it be in casual mode? Jamies asks.
See, that was why I meant 3 times. Let's say once, but no casual. That's
All
more
right,
fair.
once on ladder. Okay, I like that. I think that's fair. Once on ladder,
Yeah.
first person to do it, you get to pick the challenge next week. It's basically, you can be as sadistic as you want to. Yeah, 2-card combo delayed by 2 turns. The cross benefit is you can probably post it to like Reddit and Twitter and get a bunch of upvotes and stuff. So, there's that.
So just so you know the combo, the idea is you play Dusk Fallen, and then you Maiev your own Dusk Fallen. So when it activates in 2 turns, you get a 0 mana card. So you can just play Mali for 0, for example.
So convoluted. It's so much luck, but sure.
Booze is queuing up right now.
He's like, I'm gonna get this finished before Hearthcenter's over.
You just need to show the combo working, though. You can get your Mali. You can just most likely just do it to your
This is gonna be a druid thing, isn't it?
Oh, I mean,
it has to be. Yeah, so it's a druid card. Yeah, I forgot that Aviana was a druid card because I've never played with Dustfall and Aviana in my life.
This is why you got swept, bro.
Shut up.
Druid is the removal class. You can just play Druid and live, and you have enough removal for everything.
Wait, is she wild?
She is wild, though.
No, she's not.
Is she? Again, like I care.
I don't think Dustfallen is wild. Is she?
I think she got.
She might be wild.
I think she's wild now.
Oh yeah, she is wild. Still,
there you go. Wild ladder.
It's even harder.
My MMR is going to be 0 on wild ladder, so this should be easy. All right, Lotus. Why don't you talk about yourself real quick?
Talking about myself. See, I'm just so bad at this.
You subbed. You could have subbed during any other show.
Hey, I expected the answer just to be no. You don't get to talk, but
nope.
If I'm going to
this
talk
is your
about
thing.
Myself, all I'm going to say is that I am very thankful for having such great show partners I've been having, both in this show and the weekend. It boosts me so much, and if I look good on air for any of you, it's because of everyone who's helping me here and on school stuff. So, yeah, I just want to thank everyone.
That was way too wholesome, and now I feel bad because I have nothing. I'm not going to say mean things about Jammies, but I have nothing to say about him gameplay-wise because he hasn't been playing in THL. What's your favorite card? He wants to know what your favorite card is, Lotus.
My favorite card of all times is Lyra the Sunshard. That card was amazing.
That card. Priest card.
I love Lyra.
Alright, so I will say this about Jammies. Dude's got a magnificent stash, and I miss it every day. So, Jamie, shout out to you. My first THL captain. I just killed Mako. My first THL captain in Hero Series. Back when we were Team Next Level, and we didn't get the championship when we were on Team Next Level, but we did get it later when I was his captain with the Notorious BIGs. Jammies is a fantastic player, fantastic guy, and also a Patriots fan, which is the most important thing because you know he's got good taste. And did I mention the stash? Like, the stash is great. So if you don't love the stash, then you're just a terrible person. And this is the first picture of Jamie's stash I can find. And I love it. So thank you, Jamies, for the sub. It is truly appreciated. And do miss you on the show. You're welcome to come back and just guest on the show literally anytime you want. You just tell me when you want to be on the show. And I'll like kick Mako off or something. I don't know. I'm kidding. We would all be on the show together. It would be fun. More than I expected, honestly. We take it seriously here. We take our subs seriously. So that's everything tonight. I'm glad we got so derailed at the end, but it's fun nonetheless. So thanks for everybody for being here. If I gift a sub, we talk about the person you gifted this. Well, you get to tell us, Booze. Yeah, if you want us to talk about the person that the sub is gifted to, we'll talk about them. If you would rather it be about yourself, then we talk about you. But we already talked about you, so yeah, you think about who you want to sub next week, and when we will talk about them. But thanks for everybody tuning in tonight and talk about me. Well, sub, and we'll talk about you real quick. But that's it for us. We are going to be back tomorrow night, or not tomorrow night. We won't be back tomorrow night. Tavern Talk will be back tomorrow night. We will be back next Wednesday with the Week 11 preview, the final week of Pro. It's a big week. Make sure to tune in for the streams this weekend because we do have a lot of wild finals happening. There's only 3 matches. Remember to play Dustfall and Aviana and Maiev if you are so bold to be able to win the Hearthcenter Challenge. And that's it. Good luck to anybody in Legacy playoffs. Spam Donde with DMs to change channel point rewards. Thank you, Ron. Everybody out there who tuned in. We will see you next week. That is it. Have a great night. Good luck in your matches. See you later.